Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, Dom Lovely. I am your source for all entertainment news and all points of views. So I had an opportunity to watch the interview put on by HBO, Oprah Winfrey Presents After Neverland. And this conversation was hosted by Oprah featuring Wade Robson and James Safechuck, which are the accusers of Michael Jackson in the two-part HBO documentary Leaving Neverland. They also spoke to Dan Reed, who was the director of this project. This interview actually was taped before an audience of survivors of sexual abuse and others whose lives have been impacted by sexual abuse as well. So there were some main points that Oprah wanted to cover. And I have to say, it was great seeing her back doing, this interview format. We hadn't really seen that since the Oprah show. She does that on her network, the OWN network sometimes, but it was kind of great to see the audience and her ask subjective questions. So the main thing that she wanted us all to know that this conversation transcends Michael Jackson. This is much bigger than, this uh, sexual assault that these two accusers are saying happened with them and Michael Jackson. And it should be an ongoing conversation. I just want to talk about some of the questions that she asked both Wade and James and, kind of what their thoughts and feelings were on those. In regards to the marriage vows, if you didn't get a chance to watch the documentary, James Safechuck said that he and Michael actually exchanged wedding vows, marriage vows, and he even showed the rings. And, we know that at that point they were for a child because the rings could no longer fit on his adult fingers. So he showed the rings and he said that the vows were Michael's way of saying, hey, you'll see other people come in the situation, other children, but you are my favorite. And he wanted James to feel safe. He spoke about how there were other boys and other things going on, and I guess at that time in James' childlike mind, he kind of felt like he was being pushed to the sidelines. So he and Michael held a type of marriage ceremony where they exchanged rings. And I guess Oprah was asking him, how did you feel about that? And in that moment, did you see him? Did you see it as something that was wrong and should not be done? How did you feel about that? And at that time, he says he felt special. He felt like there was a bond. But I thought it was very interesting and important that Oprah brought up grooming and all the ways that a sexual predator can try to groom a child. And that was definitely a tactic. Oprah also asked James Safechuck, like, when did you start to feel that what happened to you was sexual abuse? When did that occur in your mind? And he stated after Wade came out about this sexual abuse, only then that he began to feel like, what was going on with me all these years was wrong. Because he said he had begun to hate himself in a way, just hate his being, hate himself, and he wasn't sure why. But that gave him more clarity. And when he saw James come out to the world, that he started to question, okay, so maybe I don't hate myself, but there's something else that's going on here. Also, Oprah asked Wade, why did you continue a relationship or a friendship with Michael? Why did you want to continue to work with him even after you had became successful? And his response to that is because he still wanted to love Michael, still loved him, wanted to be close to him, and still valued, his opinion. The audience was filled with survivors, a lot of men. In 2010, Oprah did a show where they showed many men and their family and friends that survived sexual abuse. So there were a lot of those same people in the audience. In particular, there was a guy, and I don't remember his name, but he had been abused by a police officer, a neighborhood police officer, and the officer's name was actually Officer Friendly. And at the age 13, Officer Friendly had started to sexually abuse him. That's just awful. And he said, you see this figure, somebody who is a police officer, has a badge, has a gun, and in your mind as a child you think that, they're law, they are bigger than you can even imagine. So when the sexual abuse started to happen to him, he didn't understand it, but he also thought it was him, the officer, showing him love. Over the years, we've seen Oprah and Gail's relationship, as two best friends. And we know that Gail is married and she has children. And, Oprah said something very interesting. She looked over to Gail, and we could see Gail in the audience with her son. And she said she had said to Gail, over the years, kids won't tell, and you need to make sure that you check in with your kids. And she said Gail would say something like, oh no, my kids will always tell me. They'll always tell me. And I thought, that's interesting, because Oprah doesn't have any children, but you could tell that relationship with her and Gail's kids, they're basically like Oprah's kids. And she'll probably go hard for them. And she probably, I'm sure, did not want the same thing to happen to Gail's children that happened to Oprah, because we know that she too was sexually abused as a child. And I just say that to say that, kids don't all the time tell parents. And we see that with Wade and James. We see that with both Wade and James, that they didn't come out and tell their family. They didn't tell their moms. And that created a situation with both of them and their feelings with their mother. They both say that they still have not fully forgiven their moms. And because any child feels like, your parent is supposed to be there to protect them. Now, in my opinion, both of these moms were groomed. Definitely James's mother, because I believe it was him that Michael had a special relationship with his mother, where she was groomed, and Michael would send her faxes and they would have long conversations on the phone. And so he still can't get over that, and he said that he is on the track to forgiving her, but it's not going to be easy. They both have said it's not going to be easy. Just their body language. James in particular seemed very broken down, but it was interesting that they said this is the first time, well, actually at the screening, after, they got a standing ovation for being so brave and coming out and speaking about their experiences, that they've experienced the public having any type of sympathy or empathy towards them. So, and Oprah said it. She said, you guys, y'all know we're going to get it, right? She said, I'm going to get it. They're going to come for me. They're going to come for you guys. And Wade basically said, yeah, I'm still getting death threats, So even me, it's so interesting, even me doing my video on my thoughts and opinions on the documentary, I mean, my comment section is going crazy. It's just so interesting. I mean, these people are die-hard Michael Jackson fans. I thought I was a fan until, I guess, apparently I'm not, because I have an opinion, which is so strange. But I mean, I even have a woman in my comment section that says she was Michael Jackson's lover and he didn't do it, and she knows him, and they were together for years. And people are entitled to their opinion, of course. But like Oprah says, this transcends Michael Jackson. Predators come in many different shapes and sizes and different variances. You have Officer Friendly, You have the pastor at your church. You have the woman who is the head leader of the Girl Scout troop. You have the teacher, the principal. They just come in many different forms, and most likely they are somebody who your child knows, your child loves, and who your child trusts. So we have to protect our children. And, you know, their final words for both of the gentlemen, they felt like they are on the track to recovery. Wade Robson says that he has forgiven himself. And James says that he's still on the track to forgiving himself and he has a lot of work to do. So I enjoyed the interview. You guys get down in the comments and let me know what you think. Definitely subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to click that notification bell. And we'll talk again soon. Bye.